I saw some of these TikTokers, and they said that on Twitter, farmers were saying that they thought after workers were deported that black people would come to work on their farms. What is it? Oh, that.
Hi guys, welcome once again to my YouTube channel. I am Michelle, and if it is for the first time you're coming across my video, kindly don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and even comment. So in today's videos we are going to watch the reasons why black people don't want to work on white people's farms. And for generations, black labor built the wealth of white owned farms, but not by choice. From slavery to sharecropping to exploitative wages, farm work has carried a painful history of oppression and inequality. Today, many black people not only refuse to step into white owned farms, not out of laziness, but out of dignity, history, and the pursuit of independence. In this video, we break down the real reasons why black community resist working on white farms and why these choices is deeply rooted in freedom, self-respect, and justice. So guys, let's watch the video and come back for more.
A farm in Louisiana has contracted a staffing agency group. A staffing agency group to help them find employees. To help them find employees to pick blueberries on their farm. I wonder who these people voted for, and I wonder what happened to all their employees. But let's look at the criteria, the requirements for this employment. So this is a 3-month contract from May to July. You will be working 7 days a week. So you will work every day for 3 months. You will work 9 to 10 hours a day for $11 per hour. And I looked at this little small town city in Louisiana, and it's in the 80s. So for 3 months straight, you're gonna be working 7 days a week. You're gonna work every day for 10 hours a day for $11 per hour. I see why they needed a staffing agency. We already know that this is a state, a town that went red, that voted for Trump. And now they don't have any employees. And I'm almost positive most of their employees were probably immigrants, some undocumented, some documented. And I hope the ones that do have their papers, that do have their citizenship or whatever, I hope that they don't work anymore. I hope that they quit. Make these farmers pick their own damn blueberries, okay? Because this requirement, to work here is actually crazy. It's actually crazy, and nobody should have to work 7 days per week in 90-degree weather every freaking day for $11. That's crazy. Pick your own damn blueberries. This is what y'all get. You're in your F around and find out season, and you want to know what's going to happen? What I believe is going to happen? Slave labor is going to be prison labor. Pretty soon, these farmers are going to start making deals with prisons and stuff like that, and they're going to have those prisoners out there picking strawberries and blueberries. Watch, that's what's gonna happen.
Them farmers really thought we was going back to them fields. They really thought we was going back to them fields. You know what? My mother was the first generation on her mother's side not to be brought up on a plantation. Not to be brought up on a plantation. That's what I said. My grandfather had a 3rd grade education, but he left my mama 2 houses, property in the bank, property and money in the bank, with a 3rd grade education. And guess what? He worked in fields. My great grandmother worked in fields and cut that cane just like a man. You hear me? And if you think that Eddie Lewis and Victoria C. Jones and all the rest of my ancestors bust their tail in them fields for us to go back to the fields, absolutely not. That's not progress. We're trying to heal from ancestral trauma. We're trying to heal from that. That ain't happening. That produce could rot in them fields before we go back to them fields. They need to let them know that.
So I'm a black farmer, and a lot of people are wondering, why are black farmers not panicking like a lot of white farmers? Well, let me explain to you the reasons why. It's because white farmers have been handed everything to them, a lot of them. Not saying all of them, but a good bit of them. And by that I mean this. MLK even pointed out, he says, farmers in the West and the Midwest who were white, they were given land, they were given money, they were given training, they were given a lot. Whereas the black farmers weren't given anything, and the largest civil rights settlement in U.S. history is Pickford v. Glickman, where you had a class action lawsuit, bunch of black farmers all joined the lawsuit, and they won a huge settlement because the USDA was shown to be racist for decades. So because black farmers haven't been given anything, we've been learning to do without, unlike your white farmers. So when things are taken away from you, all your subsidies, all your tax breaks, guess what? You panic. Whereas we've always been going through this shit. So there's problems in privilege.
Consequences of my actions chasing me right now. I don't want no consequence. I don't want no consequences chasing me right now.
So a lot of people may have missed it, but have y'all seen this? So first, let me describe what you're seeing. What you are seeing is a protest by Maine farmers. These are people, by and large, who voted for and supported Donald Trump. While Kamala won the state of Maine, and she won it by not the margins that you would typically see when there was a clear difference between what Donald Trump was saying and what Kamala was saying. He won, Donald Trump won this specific district where there is a significant population of rural voters and farmers. So this is how the news in Maine explained this situation.
Department of Agriculture has angered those who work on small farms across the state.
Political reporter Kate McCusker heard from Maine's farmers who gathered to protest in Augusta today.
With some arriving on tractors and one even carrying a bucket of manure, today Maine farmers gathering to protest recent cuts by the Trump administration. Several farmers from across the state spoke out against recent cuts by the U.S. Department of Agriculture to school lunch programs and food banks. They say federal funding is crucial for small farmers to sustain their business. Some say they've already invested money that the federal government had promised to reimburse them for, or have signed contracts to support them. And overall, they say the uncertainty and confusion is hurting the industry.
This is not a partisan issue for me. I'm not a Democrat or a Republican. I'm a Mainer who thinks we need farms and farmers to feed people in our state.
So Maine farmers, help me to do the math here. 1 + 1 = 2. The sky is what color? Blue. If someone tells you who they are, it's best you believe them. Donald Trump said that these were the things that he was going to do, and he did them. He talked about tariffs, and he talked about cutting the Department of Agriculture. He did exactly what he said he was going to do. This is your around and find out moment. Just enjoy it. Take it like a man or woman. You voted for this. This is exactly what you deserve.
Y'all, I have some mixed feelings about these farmers that are getting screwed over by these tariffs. There's part of me that wants to laugh in their faces and say, congratulations, you got exactly what you voted for, bro. And then there's another side of me that understands that these people are just too simple and don't really understand what they did.
You don't want to hear the price I'm about to give you. I said, well, give it to me anyways. He said, each of those steaks now is going to be $1.74 a piece. I said, well,
double the price.
We can't do that. And that's going to be impossible. So that's just to let you know a little bit of what we're going through out here on our farm and what farmers in general are going through. These tariffs, not the best thing for our country. I voted for Trump.
Now, if you didn't catch that at the end, he said, these tariffs aren't the best thing for our country, and I voted for Trump. These people don't really pay attention to the news. These are people that just listen to what Earl says down at the diner, and he's voted Republican his whole life because they're the party of God. And speaking of God, there are a lot of these farmers that say, you know what, I'm not that worried because God's got this.
Out of faith, and our faith is in God and not in administration. In agriculture, there's about 85% of what happens on my farm that is completely out of my control. Yeah. So I have to do the very best I can at managing that 15% of inputs and costs and labor and marketing and signing the best contract and doing the best job that I can and leave the other 85% up to the good Lord. And that's all we can do, whether it's weather or disease or a hailstorm or a pandemic or administration.
They're trying to compare these tariffs to a natural disaster, but this isn't a natural disaster. This was a decision made by one man who is screwing them over. And they're just like, well, it's in the Lord's hands. What can we do? And this, again, is why religion is so dangerous. They're willing to accept financial ruin because the Lord's got this, so I'm not going to be worried about what Trump decides to do. And my friends over at the Cowboy Church told me that God put him in office for a reason. And that's just it. When you think that there's a supernatural force just watching over you at all times, nothing matters. Your family might starve. Well, if that's what God wants, who am I to argue with him? If you don't get your kid vaccinated, they could easily die of a disease that's easily preventable. Well, if that's what the Lord wants, I'm not going to be able to stop him. And that is why religion is one of the most dangerous things on this planet. Because these people have been convinced that they are completely out of control of things that they could completely control if they wanted to. And the sad thing is that we need our farmers, but Darwinism is going to take them all away from us if they don't get away from this Christian nationalist way of thinking. Unfortunately, I just don't see that happening. Do you?
Well, it happened. The tariffs are now hitting American farmers, and they are making TikTok videos left, right, and center complaining about the costs of actually running their farms. You gotta watch this.
I called 2 weeks ago to get a quote on these fiberglass steaks because we need some more steaks this year. I got a quote, 83 cents. I called the man this morning. I said, hey, I know these tariffs are crazy and everything going on. I said, what can you do me on those fiberglass steaks now if we needed a load? It's a 3-month ETA from time you place the order. He said, Taylor, you don't want to hear this price that I'm about to give you. And I said, well, give it to me anyways. He said, each of those steaks now is going to be $1.74 a piece. And I said, well, you know, and I know both that we can't do that, and that's going to be impossible. Just to let you know a little bit of what we're going through out here on our farm and what farmers in general are going through. These tariffs, not the best thing for our country. I voted for...
Back like I never left. I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard this from me. But, there's a guy on here, right, that says that he is in the white supremacy Twitter group, right? And that he likes everybody, but he's infiltrating over there so he can bring the tea back to the black community. And he said that the white farmers of America, and I knew that's what FFA, Future Farmers of America, meant when we was growing up, was because they were trying to make America great again that way. He said that they were on there talking about where's all the black people at. We thought they was gonna come back and work on our farmland when we got rid of the immigrants, meaning the Latino people, because they kept saying that the Latino people had all the black jobs, and what Trump meant when he said black jobs was that they were trying to make us go back to slavery. Yeah, how's that working? Yeah. I'm just, you know, like I said, I ain't one to gossip, so you ain't heard this from me. Let me know in the comment section what you heard about the future farmers of America, or around and find out farmers of America, or the you know, whatever you heard about them. Let me know. All right, bye.
So y'all thought that strategy was gonna work? Black Americans are not going back into the fields. No. Our ancestors paved the way, they laid the foundation, and they paid the price with blood, sweat, and tears. Oh, we're not going back. No. And also, many black people in this country have an education, have jobs, have careers, have degrees. No, we're not going back. Many of us have a thing that's called empathy for others less fortunate. All right, guys.
So if the white farmers leave, we'll be fine in SA.
If the white farmers leave, then we are going to enter civil war. Because people are going to come into your house to get food. The hungry will eat the rich.
So I'm going to eat soul.
If you're hungry, you will eat soul. It looks
finish
yummy.
me, dog. You know where to start, boy. You'll finish me, man.
Yo, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's the quickest way you can, and there's nothing else that can make this country like, it's hurting people here. But the quickest we can get to a very abnormal situation is for people not to have food. Okay, this is why our government is making efforts to have these 350 grants, and we don't like them as taxpayers, but let the people go hungry. Then you will see, and we are very close, very close, very close. The poverty in this country is real, and people don't have the skill to grow their own food.
So Texas farms don't have no workers? I like salad, y'all. I mean, what are we gonna do? I'm not going out there. Y'all should have left them folks alone. Now look at us. We already overweight, out of shape, high blood pressure. Now we ain't got no vegetables. I am just waiting on MAGA to report to the fields. It's your turn.
When it comes to the white farmers who are losing all of their workers and are about to lose their farms, I say that's the way it was always meant to be. You were never meant to employ all of these people for little to nothing / nothing when it comes to your ancestors and be able to make a profit off of it. It was never meant to be the cool, rad thing that your family does for generations to make money. It was never honest work. It was never honorable. It was always tainted. It always involved holding people against their will to squeeze every single dime you could out of them, whether by force or by threat. It was always about that. And it was never right for this country to make that their foundation and their road to wealth. And so now that it's crumbling, we are returning to the original form of what things should have been. So there you go. I get that they work hard and some of these farms have been passed down from generation to generation. Well, for generation after generation, we've had all of the stuff that you have piled onto us passed down each and every time. I don't want anyone to suffer out here. I don't want anyone to be on the streets or lose their possessions or anything. And I don't want anyone to be exploited for their work either. I don't want anyone building off of the backs of people they deem less than human. So if you're already doing that and you lose the things that you've gained, if you're finally reaping what you sowed, so be it.
Welcome once again, guys. I hope you have all watched the whole clip and now you understand the reasons why black people don't want to work on white people's farm, and it is rooted in history, economics, and racial power dynamics. And some of the main reasons why many black people may resist working on white-owned farms, especially in places like the US and South Africa and other former colonies, is like historical trauma of slavery and sharecropping. For centuries, black people were forced to work on farms and plantations under slavery. After slavery, systems like sharecropping kept them tied to white-owned land in exploitative ways. Because of this history, farm labor for white owners is associated with oppression, exploitation, and lack of dignity. Exploitation and low wages. Farm work, especially on large white-owned farms, often pay very low wages with poor or unsafe conditions. Many black workers see it as a trap that keeps them in poverty while the farm owners profit. Lack of land ownership opportunities. Historically, black people were denied access to land ownership through racist laws and practices. Example, in South Africa under apartheid or in the US after Reconstruction. This means working on white farms often feels like building someone else's wealth, not their own. This desire for independence and dignity. Many black community value self-resilience and independence because of the painful legacy of dependence on white employers. Working on white farms can be seen as going back to a master servant dynamic. And another reason that makes these people don't want to work on white farms, because they are getting best opportunities elsewhere. With urbanized education and other job opportunities, many younger black people prefer cities, offices, or trades where they see more respect and growth potential than farm labor, of which these people have found another way of earning. So they feel like they will no longer work on farms that are paying them low wages, farms that are misusing them, farms that are taking advantage of them. That's why they are boycotting from doing the farm works. They are trying to meet their needs, and they feel like when they are working on those farms, they are not able to meet their needs. They are not able to pay their bills because they are not getting enough salaries. They are treated as slaves, because when they are working in those farms, it reminds them of the many years our ancestors fought over independence, and these people are trying to come past that, and they are trying to overcome that. They are trying to move to another step, because they don't want to feel like they are still slaves. They want to have their own freedom. They want to have jobs that are enough and are paying them, jobs that are urbanized, jobs that have education, jobs that are paying them well. That's why these people are boycotting from working in white people's farms. It's not that they are being personal, but they are thinking about their future. They are thinking about what will happen in the years to come. They don't want to go back to where they were many years ago. They are trying to find a new path that will make them be able to afford their own bills and to afford the life they are living in the United States or in South Africa. So guys, if it is for the first time you're coming across my video, kindly don't forget to subscribe, and don't let me know your opinions and your thoughts on the comment section below. Bye, let's meet on the next video.